So, I've got a pro tip for writing absurdist poetry. Just go to some news site and take all the headlines and just use that as your first stanza and go from there. So this is called Found Art, Comcast Survival Instincts, March 30th, 2006. He was buried under 6 feet of snow, shot 5 times at point-blank range. He used his MP3 player as a compass. His parachute failed to open. Amputate a limb or die? Lost at sea for more than 130 days. He lived off of cat kibble from the kitchen floor, hung on to the wing of an F-18 jet fighter at takeoff, held hot coals within his mouth to stave off hypothermia. He waited 4 hours to reach his highway exit, survived a marriage of 44 years, listened to his manager lecture about time efficiency in the workplace. He took on Keith Richards in a heroin shooting contest, and Amy Winehouse in an amphetamine shooting contest, and Dick Cheney in a man shooting contest. He ran with the dingoes, and he swam with the herons, and he slept with the fishes, but we won't get into that because that's gross. His was the hand that stopped a chainsaw, the brow that stopped a collapsing stone wall, and the nods that caught a penalty kick from the forward of Manchester United. Ooh! His tough decisions faced him daily, matters to determine life or death, like whether to use the public restroom at the gas station or the convenience center. They're both pretty order takeout or TV dinner, and whether he should chew off his left or right ankle in order to break free from the trap. His spacesuit sprang a leak, and his galoshes took on water, and he opened the emergency rations only to find that they had been replaced with skin conditioning lotion, and yet he marched to rejoin his comrades at the platoon. Surrounded on all sides by hostile Latvians, under the strain of a pending audit, wanted for postage fraud by the elite postage inspectors of Israel, he still fended off a shark in the Gobi Desert. In those conditions, he had to use his rifle barrel as a breathing tube, his belt buckle as a grappling hook, and his condoms as water balloons against those crazy Delta F-loves who were on their spring break. Yeah. His parents had believed he was dead from the time he was born. His children had thought he was still being cared after in a Florida retirement home. His shift manager had thought he was going to be late for graveyard. Again. But even as the doctors informed him that he had been vaporized, even as his polio-crippled limbs flexed, popping out of their sockets to run away from him, even as the soundtrack composer miscued and put on the villain's polka theme instead, he rose and carried on. He is an inspiration to all living things.